I was hanging pastel LED lights across our backyard fence, trying to make everything perfect for Amanda's baby shower. The afternoon sun felt warm on my neck, and I could hear my wife inside the house laughing on the phone with someone. We had been married for 3 years, and in just 2 months we would be holding our first child. I should have felt nothing but joy. But every time I thought about her mother Linda coming to the shower, my stomach twisted. Something about the way Linda looked at me, at our small rental house, at everything I had worked so hard to provide, made me feel like I was never going to be enough. I had no idea that in just 3 hours, everything I believed about my marriage would start to crumble. Before I tell you what happened at that baby shower, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever felt like you were not good enough for someone, hit that like button, because this story is for you. Do not forget to subscribe, because what happened 3 days later will shock you. Now let me take you back to that Saturday afternoon. The backyard was starting to look exactly how Amanda wanted it. Pink and blue balloons formed an arch over the dessert table. I had spent the entire morning baking cupcakes, which honestly turned out better than I expected for a guy who usually just microwaves leftovers. The tables were covered in white cloth, and little baby bottles filled with candy sat at each place setting. Our neighbors had lent us their folding chairs, and I was arranging them in neat rows when the first guests started arriving. Amanda's college friend showed up first, carrying beautifully wrapped gifts and squealing about how amazing everything looked. I felt a surge of pride. Sure, we were renting this place, and sure, it was not a mansion, but we had made it our home. I worked as a software engineer at a decent company, and while I was not pulling 6 figures yet, we were comfortable. We had enough, or so I thought. Amanda came outside wearing a white maternity dress that made her glow. She was 7 months along, and honestly, she had never looked more beautiful to me. She caught my eye and smiled that smile that had made me fall in love with her in the first place. For a moment, I forgot about my anxiety over Linda's arrival. More guests trickled in over the next hour. My co-workers, some of Amanda's relatives, people from the neighborhood. Everyone was mingling, playing the silly baby shower games Amanda had planned, guessing the baby's weight and due date. The atmosphere was light and happy. I was refilling the punch bowl when I heard it. The distinct purr of an expensive engine. Linda arrived in her black Mercedes 45 minutes late. She stepped out wearing designer sunglasses and a cream-colored pantsuit that probably cost more than our monthly rent. Her perfume reached me before she did, some floral scent that smelled like it came in a bottle shaped like a crystal. She walked straight past me, did not even acknowledge my wave, and headed directly to Amanda. I watched as Linda air-kissed her daughter on both cheeks and presented her with a massive gift bag from some upscale baby boutique. Amanda's face lit up, and for a second I felt invisible. I shook it off and went back to making sure everyone had drinks. But I could feel Linda's eyes on the house, the rental house. The 1-story 3-bedroom home with the slightly peeling paint on the shutters and the lawn that I mowed myself every Sunday. I saw her wrinkle her nose slightly as she glanced at the chain-link fence separating our yard from the neighbors. It was not much, but it was clean, it was safe, and it was ours. Well, technically the landlord's, but you get the point. About 30 minutes into the party, I was in the corner of the yard, unfolding more chairs, because more people had shown up than we expected. That is when Linda appeared next to me. She did not help with the chairs. She just stood there, arms crossed, watching me struggle with a particularly stubborn folding chair. Then she said it, loud enough that at least 5 or 6 people nearby could hear. "Blake, I need to be honest with you. My daughter made a huge mistake marrying someone who cannot even afford a real house." I froze. The chair slipped from my hands and clattered against the concrete patio. A few conversations around us died down. I could feel people's eyes on us. Linda continued, her voice dripping with that particular kind of condescension that rich people master. "A rental property for a baby. This is not the life I raised Amanda for. She deserves granite countertops and a 2-car garage, not this." She gestured vaguely at our yard like it was a landfill. My face burned. I wanted to say something, anything, but my throat felt tight. I managed to look over at Amanda, hoping she would jump in, tell her mother to back off, defend me, defend us. But Amanda just stood there near the gift table about 15 feet away. She had definitely heard. and instead of looking angry or embarrassed on my behalf, she giggled. Actually giggled. Then she rubbed her belly in this absent way and turned back to her conversation with someone else. That giggle hit me harder than Linda's words. Linda was not finished. She leaned in closer, lowering her voice just slightly, but not enough that the nearby guests could not still hear. Thank God her ex is still in the picture for emotional support. At least Trevor knows how to provide stability. Trevor. I had heard that name before. Amanda's high school boyfriend. The guy who went on to become some hotshot real estate developer. The guy Linda always compared me to, usually in subtle ways, but sometimes not so subtle. And that is when I saw him, Trevor, standing near the dessert table chatting with Amanda like he belonged there. Tall tan, wearing clothes that probably came from the same expensive stores Linda shopped at. He was smiling at Amanda, and she was smiling back. I felt my entire body go cold, despite the warm afternoon Sunday. I forced myself to nod at Linda. My jaw clenched so tight, I thought my teeth might crack. "Excuse me," I managed to say. "I need to get more chairs from the garage." I walked away, my hands shaking, my vision blurring slightly at the edges. I could hear laughter behind me, but I could not tell if it was directed at me or just normal party noise. Inside the garage, I leaned against my workbench and tried to breathe. Through the small garage window, I had a clear view of the party. Trevor was still talking to Amanda. At one point, he reached out and touched her shoulder just lightly, and she did not pull away. Linda stood next to them, looking pleased with herself like a chess player who just made a winning move. I felt like a stranger at my own child's baby shower. Like I was watching my life from outside my body. Something was not right. Something had been not right for a while, and I had been too trusting, too naive, too busy trying to be a good husband to notice. But I had no idea how deep this rabbit hole would go. That night, after all the guests left and the yard was cleaned up, I tried to talk to Amanda about what happened. She was already in bed, scrolling through her phone and looking at pictures from the shower. "Amanda," I said, sitting on the edge of our bed, "we need to talk about what your mother said today." She did not look up from her phone. "Mom is just being mom. Do not take it personally, Blake. Do not take it personally." Her mother had humiliated me in front of our friends and family, implied I was not good enough to be her son-in-law. And Amanda's advice was to not take it personally. "And why was Trevor there?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. Now she looked at me, her expression annoyed. "He is an old friend. Mom invited him." "What is the big deal?" "The big deal is that your mother just told me your ex would be a better provider than me, and then I find out he is at our baby shower without me even knowing he was invited." Amanda sighed like I was being unreasonable. "You are making something out of nothing. Trevor and I are just friends. We have been for years. You need to stop being so insecure." She turned over, facing away from me, and within minutes her breathing had evened out into sleep. But I could not sleep. I lay there for hours staring at the ceiling, feeling more alone than I had ever felt in my life. The next morning was Sunday. I woke up before Amanda, which was unusual. She was still sleeping, one hand resting on her belly. I went to the kitchen to make coffee, trying to shake off the awful feeling from the night before. That is when I saw it. Amanda's phone was on the kitchen counter face up. The screen lit up with a new text message. And the name on the screen made my blood run cold. Trevor. The preview of the message read, "Yesterday was great seeing you. We need to talk more about the plan. Call me when he is not around." The plan. When he is not around. I stood there holding my coffee mug, staring at those words. Every instinct told me to unlock her phone and read the full conversation. But I had never been the kind of husband who snooped. I trusted Amanda, or at least I had. I set the phone back down exactly where I found it and walked away. But I could not stop thinking about that message. All day Amanda was glued to her phone, smiling at the screen, typing away. Every time I asked who she was talking to, she said it was just her friends discussing baby stuff. By Monday, I could not concentrate at work. My mind kept going back to that text message. To Trevor, touching Amanda's shoulder. To Linda's words about Trevor providing stability. During my lunch break, I made a decision. I drove home telling my boss I forgot my laptop. I parked down the street from our house, not in the driveway, and that is when I saw it. A silver BMW parked in front of our rental. Trevor's car. I recognized it from the baby shower. I sat in my car watching, waiting. Trevor stayed inside our house with my pregnant wife for an hour and 45 minutes. When he finally came out, he was smiling. That self-satisfied smile of someone who thinks they are getting away with something. I waited until he drove away. Then I waited another 10 minutes before I went inside. Amanda was in the kitchen, humming to herself, making a sandwich. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "Did anyone stop by today?" She did not even hesitate. "Nope, just me here all day." Why, she lied. Right to my face. Without even a flicker of guilt. That night I could barely look at her. Tuesday morning I was at my desk when my phone rang. Linda's name appeared on the screen. She had never called me before. Never. I answered. "Hello, Blake." Her voice was cold businesslike. "We need to discuss Amanda's future." "What about Amanda's future?" I asked, my grip tightening on the phone. "My daughter deserves better than what you can provide. I think you should consider stepping aside gracefully. You know, before the baby comes. Make it easier on everyone." I could not believe what I was hearing. "Stepping aside, what are you talking about? Trevor is willing to step up," Linda said like she was discussing a business transaction. "He has the financial stability Amanda needs. A real house. Security. Everything you cannot give her. Amanda is my wife," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "That is my child." There was a pause. Then Linda said something that made my entire world tilt. "Are you sure about that?" The line went dead. She had hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, her words echoing in my head. "Are you sure about that?" What did she mean? Was she implying the baby was not mine? Or was she just trying to mess with my head? That night I decided I was done playing the fool. When Amanda got home from her prenatal appointment, I confronted her. "Amanda, is there something you need to tell me?" She looked startled. "What are you talking about?" "I am talking about Trevor. I am talking about text messages about plans. I am talking about your mother calling me today and suggesting I should step aside so Trevor can play daddy to our child." Her face went pale. Then suddenly she burst into tears. "You are being paranoid. I cannot believe you are doing this while I am pregnant. The stress is bad for the baby, Blake." The guilt hit me immediately. Here I was upsetting my pregnant wife. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was seeing things that were not there. "I am sorry," I said, reaching for her. "I am just confused. Your mom keeps saying these things and Trevor keeps showing up and I just feel like I am losing my mind." She pulled away from me. "Maybe you need to talk to someone. This is not healthy, Blake." She went to bed early, leaving me alone with my thoughts. But something inside me had shifted. I was not crazy. Something was happening, and I needed to find out what. The next morning, Wednesday, I called a lawyer. Just for a consultation. I needed to know my rights, especially regarding paternity testing. The lawyer was sympathetic, gave me some information, told me to document everything. I started taking screenshots when I could, writing down dates and times of strange occurrences. I was building a case, not sure what for yet, but I needed to protect myself. I needed to protect my future. That afternoon I was at the office when my phone started going crazy. The first call came in at 3:37 p.m. "Amanda, I was in a meeting so I sent it to voicemail." Then Linda called. Then another call from Amanda. Then a number I did not recognize. Then Trevor. Why the hell was Trevor calling me? By 4:15 p.m. I had 30 missed calls. 30. My phone kept buzzing, the voicemail icon filling up. My coworkers were staring at me. Something was very, very wrong. I stepped out of the office and called Amanda back. It rang and rang. No answer. I tried again. Nothing. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. Was she okay? Was the baby okay? I did not wait. I grabbed my keys and ran to my car. The drive home usually took 25 minutes. I made it in 15, probably breaking every speed limit law in the county. When I pulled up to our house, my stomach dropped. There were 3 cars in front. Amanda's sedan, Linda's Mercedes, and Trevor's BMW. I ran inside, not even bothering to close the front door behind me. The scene in my living room was chaos. Amanda was on the couch, sobbing, her face red and blotchy. Linda was standing in the middle of the room screaming at Trevor, her perfectly composed mask completely shattered. Trevor looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor, his face pale and sweaty. "What is going on?" I demanded, looking from one person to another. "Is the baby okay?" Linda whipped around to face me, her eyes blazing. This is all your fault. My fault. What are you talking about? Someone tell me what is happening." Amanda looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "Blake, I am so sorry. I need to tell you something." My legs felt weak. This was it. The moment I had been dreading. She was going to tell me the baby was not mine. She was leaving me. My worst fears were about to come true. The baby, Amanda choked out between sobs. "The baby is yours. I already did a paternity test. I have the results." I blinked. "What? Why would you need to do a paternity test?" That is when everything came spilling out, and I mean everything. Apparently, Linda and Trevor had been plotting together for weeks. Linda had never accepted me as good enough for her daughter. She wanted Amanda to divorce me and get back together with Trevor, who came from money, who could buy Amanda the kind of life Linda thought she deserved. Trevor, who apparently never got over Amanda, had agreed to the plan. The scheme was elaborate and sick. They would create situations that would make me doubt the paternity of the baby. Trevor would show up, places send ambiguous text messages that I might see spend time alone with Amanda. The goal was to make me so paranoid and suspicious that I would either demand a divorce or just leave on my own. Then once I was out of the picture, Trevor would swoop in like some kind of hero ready to take care of Amanda and raise the baby as his own. Linda would get the rich son-in-law she always wanted, and Trevor would get Amanda back. I did not know, Amanda sobbed. "I swear, I did not know about any of this until after the baby shower." Mom started acting weird, pushing me to spend more time with Trevor, making comments about you not being a good provider. But I thought she was just being her normal critical self. She wiped her face, her hands shaking. Then today, Mom came over with divorce papers. She had already had them drawn up, Blake. She put them on the table and told me to sign them. She said it was for the best, that you were never going to give me the life I deserved, that Trevor was waiting for me. And I said no, Amanda continued. I told her she was insane, and that is when she told me everything. About the plan, about how they had been manipulating both of us. I was so angry I called Trevor and told him to get over here right now so we could all talk. And I kept calling you, but you were not answering. I looked at Trevor, who could not meet my eyes. "Is this true?" He nodded slowly. "I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought Amanda would be happier with me. I thought you were not good enough for her." Something inside me snapped. Not into rage, but into cold, clear certainty. I walked over to Trevor, standing so close I could see the sweat on his upper lip. "Let me make this very clear. You thought you could just steal my family. You thought you could manipulate and scheme your way into my wife's life and take my child. I just wanted what was best for Amanda," Trevor stammered. I did not raise my voice. I did not need to. "Get out of my house. Right now. And if you ever contact my wife again, if you ever come near my family again, I will file for a restraining order, so fast it will make your head spin. Do you understand me?" Trevor nodded, grabbed his keys, and practically ran for the door. I heard his car start up and peel away from the curb. Then I turned to Linda. She was still standing there, but some of the fight had gone out of her. She suddenly looked older, smaller. "You are her mother," I said quietly. "How could you do this to your own daughter? How could you try to destroy her marriage?" "I was trying to help her," Linda said, but her voice had lost its conviction. "You cannot give her the life she deserves." "Let me tell you what Amanda deserves," I said, and my voice was steady now, sure. "She deserves a husband who loves her, not someone who plots behind her back. She deserves a mother who supports her choices, not someone who manipulates her. And she deserves respect, which is something you clearly know nothing about." I walked over to Amanda and took her hand. "And you," I said, looking at Linda, "are no longer welcome in our home. If you want to be part of your grandchild's life, you need to apologize. A real apology. And you need to respect our marriage." Can you do that? Linda's mouth opened and closed. You cannot just kick me out. She is my daughter. Amanda stood up still, holding my hand. For the first time since I met her, she stood up to her mother. Yes, he can. And I agree. Mom, you need to leave. You need to think about what you have done. And until you can respect my husband and my marriage, you are not welcome here. Linda looked shocked, genuinely shocked. She grabbed her purse, shot us both a look I could not quite read, and left without another word. As soon as the door closed, Amanda collapsed into my arms, sobbing. I am so sorry. I should have seen it. I should have known something was wrong. When Mom started insisting Trevor come to the baby shower when she kept making comments about our house, I should have put it together. I held her, feeling my own tears start to fall. It is not your fault. They manipulated both of us. I love you, she whispered. I love you so much. And I am so sorry you ever doubted that. We stood there in our small rental house holding each other, while our whole world slowly stopped spinning. 3 months later, Amanda gave birth to a healthy baby boy. We named him Henry after my grandfather. When I held him for the first time, looked down at his tiny face and his perfect little fingers, I felt a peace I had never known before. Amanda had become a different person after that awful day. Not different in personality, but different in strength. She had started going to therapy to work through her relationship with her mother, and we had started going to couples counseling to rebuild the trust that had been damaged. It was not easy, but we were doing it together. We were still living in the rental house. Linda had been right about one thing: it was not a mansion, but we had started saving for a down payment on a real home. I had gotten a promotion at work, a nice raise that came at the perfect time. We were going to be okay. Better than okay. Linda had sent an email a week after the confrontation. It was not much of an apology, honestly. It was more of an explanation about how she had only wanted the best for Amanda, how she had let her concerns get out of hand. But 3 weeks after Henry was born, she sent flowers and a card with a real apology. She asked if she could meet her grandson. Amanda and I talked about it for a long time. We decided to let her visit, but with clear boundaries. 1 hour at our house, with both of us present, Linda came, held Henry, cried, and apologized again. She still made occasional comments about our house or our furniture, but Amanda would shut her down immediately now. It was a work in progress. Trevor had moved to another city. I heard through Amanda's friends that he had started dating someone else. I did not wish him harm, but I did not wish him well either. He had tried to destroy my family, and that was not something I could easily forgive. As I sat in our living room that night, Henry sleeping in his bassinet next to the couch, Amanda curled up next to me watching television, I thought about everything we had been through. I thought about Linda's words at the baby shower, about how I could not afford a real house, about how I was not good enough, and I realized something important. My worth was not measured by the size of my house, or the car I drove, or the number in my bank account. My worth was measured by how I treated the people I loved, by my honesty, by my willingness to fight for my family when everything was falling apart. I learned that standing up for yourself does not mean being aggressive or angry. It means knowing your value and not letting anyone convince you otherwise. It means setting boundaries and enforcing them, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it is family. Amanda learned something too. She learned that her mother's love, while real, had been conditional and controlling, and she chose to break that cycle. She chose to be the kind of mother who would support Henry no matter what path he chose, no matter who he loved, as long as he was happy and treated people with kindness. We learned together that a strong marriage is built on honesty, even when the truth is uncomfortable, even when it is painful. We learned to communicate better, to not let things fester, to face problems head-on, instead of hoping they would go away. I do not hate Linda or Trevor. Honestly, I feel sorry for them. They were so focused on material things, on appearances, on what other people would think, that they almost destroyed something real. They almost took away the chance for a family to grow and heal and become stronger. These days, life is pretty simple. Amanda and I take care of Henry, save money for our future home. We have dinner with friends, take walks in the park, do all the normal things that normal families do. It is not glamorous. It is not the life that Linda envisioned for her daughter, but it is ours. It is real. It is built on love and trust and respect. And that is worth more than any mansion or luxury car or fat bank account could ever be. If someone ever makes you feel like you are not enough, remember this. The right people will love you for who you are, not for what you can buy them. And if you are ever in a situation where someone tries to manipulate you or your loved ones, do not stay silent. Speak up, stand up, because your peace of mind is worth more than keeping the peace. Have you ever been in a situation where someone made you feel inadequate? Have you ever had to stand up to family members who did not respect your choices? Drop your story in the comments. I would love to hear how you handled it. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Subscribe if you want to hear more real stories about life, relationships, and finding your worth. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you are enough exactly as you are. Take care of yourselves out there, and remember that the best revenge is living well.